Alright, it is Sunday, and this is going to be the weekly recap, and this is going to be from the 6th to the 12th, so all of last week, and I had 6 trades. This was my first red week in a long time, but I only lost a little bit. Only 2 winning trades, 33% winning percentage, and my average gain was $2, and my average loss was $5, and that's actually pretty good considering the fact that my first trade here was a very large $2,000 position size. Basically, mostly, if it's what it seems like, all of these trades right here combined is still less than this one trade I had here that just didn't work out, but I cut losses extremely quickly, and it shows right here because my average percent gain on these 2 trades that did work out was 1.20%, and my average percent loss was much less, 0.78. Just because of the fact that I had this big trade here. This is kind of like what makes it an outlier really in a lot of these stats, so I'm not taking it too seriously. Like here, average dollar gain position size was 205. That was between these 2 trades right here, and the one that's right here, that $2,000 position, it averaged out here. I guess if I were to take out this one right here, it would look a lot better. Yeah, it would. It's still much larger, but not that much. It's kind of even in that sense. Again, I didn't trade very much. I had 6 trades, so it's not like there is a lot of data. It can be a bit biased. Maybe if I do like a whole month or something, or maybe every 20 trades, that would make the data much better. Average dollar gain time in trade was 2 minutes. It looks like it was about the same. It really averaged out because this one was a much longer trade that I had for a total of 9 minutes. But these other ones where I cut losses quickly, it didn't really work too nicely. I cut it very quickly. You see, this one right here was only 13 seconds. So that's kind of why that is what it is. And again, still trading small, in theory at least. Although I'll be interested in trading larger if the setup is good. Just $16 down on the week, and I traded $3,600 of volume. If we look back here, that's really good because I traded $3,600 of volume, and of that dollar volume traded for that whole week, it was just negative 0.45% of that amount, which is good. Right here, when I traded $8 grand of dollar volume, it was just about the same. I really want to see a green week and then a very high percent profit loss depending on the volume. That's something to look forward to. Some of the setups did kind of work. There were a few that I missed out that would have really been nice, but let's just go over the trades that I had. And as in for the setup, did it work or not, I had 1 big yes, 2 regular yeses, 2 kindas, and 1 no. And it averaged out to 83 out of 100, which is a C. This is like very strict. When I was in high school, an 84 was a B, so kind of sucks, but it's alright. I guess it's just, pushing myself on a very strict level. Same score actually for whether I traded well or not, which was a bunch of yeses and then 1 okay, and that led to that right there. Really not bad. I feel like I'm making progress. I am trading. I am not like blowing up. I'm not having like a big, $150 loss and then it was 20%, something crazy where I just held on to a loser and I back held it. Just nothing like that. So I think that's really good in that sense. I'm going to go over these trades Tim Lentil style. There's only 6 trades, so it shouldn't be that long, but let's go ahead and start it. And this was the big trade right here. NWGC. This was the 6th, 7th. So let's look at NWGC for the 6th, 7th. So give or take right here, second red day, was definitely looking like something that could make a very nice morning panic bounce play because of how much it's been up, right? From sub penny stock to an actual penny, right? So that was very impressive in that sense. Didn't really work out that nicely, but it could have been much worse. Looks like this was the 7th right here. So yeah, you can tell right here, morning panic bounce play. And this is when I learned that when I'm trying to do a morning panic bounce play, to risk off the low of the day at the moment, and if it cuts it, even if it's just for one more candle, it's good to just cut the trade early. This is a trade where, and you can go back to the video on the day right here where I go over the trade, and I might do that too, where had I have not, I guess I'm going a little too far ahead. Let me just go over it. This was a morning panic bounce play. Cut losses quickly, look for fading volume. Those were two things that I've really learned from that day. That gave me much more confidence to try morning panic bounce plays later. And let's see, my first entry was 932, and it was right here. This is an average, so it's not really where I got my first entry. You know, that's not the price, but my first entry was at 932 and I got out at 941. So let's just look there. 932 was right here, just a bit too early. I've seen these where they drop like 6-7% and they spike. I guess that's what I was going for, but I should have considered how much there was topping right here, so that when I actually had this significant red day, it made a big difference. I should have cut immediately when my you know, when the day low was broken into right here. Even if I got a shitty, you know, like a really bad exit right here at 222, for example, it still means a lot more than when I ultimately covered the trade. I got out of the trade here at 941. Would have helped greatly, would have made this much more profitable. A lot of lessons were made this day. And also, I just got out at 941 because I was just tired. I was thinking, is this going to do another leg down? You know, I went through a buy here at 932, and then I had a buy here, I believe, and then another buy right here, give or take something like that. And had I have just really just held on to the trade, even through all the craziness and this breakdown that didn't last too long, under 2 pennies, you know, I should have just saw the volume was clearly fading right here, 941, 942. I should have held longer. It was a nice move eventually from this, you know, 208 level to a nice sell at 222 to, you know, 23. This would have been very profitable, but I didn't trade it as best as I could. But I definitely learned from this, so that in the future I won't make the same mistake. At least it's less likely for me to make the same mistake again. I think it'll just help very greatly. Very thankful for that trade, even though, you know, I had a loss there. It was a very small percent wise. It could have been much worse, you know, but really, you know, whether it went good or bad, I learned a lot from it, and I'm pretty thankful for it. The next trade right here was BlackBerry. I'm happy that I traded some of these meme stocks, because before I was only trading OTCs, but then I got into NASDAQ because these morning panic bounce plays, although this one was nice, some of the other ones, they have been really bad, and just missing out on opportunity trading, you know, only OTCs when there are NASDAQs or listed stocks doing very nicely. This was a great improvement in and of itself, but I did trade small in these NASDAQ plays just because of the fact I'm kind of new to trading listed stocks. I mean, I've traded it before, but this is the first time I'm doing it in a while. BlackBerry was, this one was a short, okay? This was a VWAP confirmed breakdown. Let me just make this a little larger so it doesn't look that crazy. Let's look at 6.8 for BlackBerry. So right here, 6.8 looks like not a very major day. Looks like a random consolidation day. Sure, it was down a bit, but you know, it wasn't just crazy price movement. But let's go ahead and look at the 8th. Right here, is this the 8th? Yep. And let's see, I went ahead and I shorted at 10.55. I got out at 10.58. So let's just go ahead and do that from the morning. I shorted at 10.55. My entry was 16.61. So 10.55 right here. 16.61. So I shorted, give or take, right here. Right, 10.55 at this level right here. Why? Because it had like a panic, a nice panic. Let me see if I can show pre-market a little more. it was just falling hard. Went under VWAP, held above it, and then it looked like right here it started struggling to hold VWAP. So, considering how much it's up, how it's a meme stock, it's not, up on fundamentally good news or something like that. I went ahead and took a short here at 10.55, and even though I considered not holding the trade very long, it was still 3 minutes. I've had that problem where I only hold a trade for like 20 seconds on the setup that is working out. Not when a setup isn't working out, but when it is working out. So in that sense, I got a bit better. Anyway, covered at 10.58, 16.52. This was my first short in a very long time, and I just did not want to take like an L, in my first NASDAQ short in a really long time. Just did not want, even though it kind of messed with me here, I don't regret it too much. Just didn't want to take an L, and I covered at right here, the 16.58 level. I believe, what was it, 51? 52. It was at 52. Small profit. I only traded, mind you, a $166 position. Very small percent wise, but this one greatly worked out. Just 1 minute off from this first red candle right here, and it had a pretty good drop even up to this 1569 level before it started to show any signs of a reversal. Anything more than 2 green candles right here was 3. Then it got as low as 1530. So this one really worked out. Actually just covered right here before it had the big drop. I don't mind it too much. Didn't want to take an L again on my first listed stock short in a really long time. Overall it was a really good pattern in and of itself. Could have made a lot more. Could have traded a larger size too. That's something I'll be considering, perhaps trading larger sizes if the setup looks very nice. No longer be too scared of trading listed stocks. I'll just have to treat it a bit more seriously. I can trade like a $500 position, or maybe even larger. It all depends. Maybe even smaller. Who knows? But that was a really good trade in and of itself. The setup was very nice. Didn't trade it perfectly, but I think it was pretty good considering the fact that it was my first NASDAQ, or maybe this one was a list like a New York Stock Exchange stock. I'm not sure, but it was definitely my first listed stock short in months. So I'm really happy with that trade. Could have done a lot worse on that one. Could have done better, sure, but still just really happy with it. And now let's look at MJWL. I traded this twice. It was trash. I mean, they both worked out, but it was just so choppy, liquid, and I just can't be trading these setups. Even though they do it, it's not that nice. It's something I wouldn't trade if I had a much larger account. It's something I need to probably stay away from, but I don't know. Maybe it's just something I need to keep getting better at. But MJWL, let's look at MJWL at the 8th. I need to start clicking there. So right here, just had a nice run up, and this was the 8th right here. Didn't really do too much. Was starting to try to panic, but it would just hold itself a bunch of times. Let's look at the 8th, which is right here. Yeah, this thing was just pretty bad. Is this really it, the 8th? Yep, MJWL, I bought 933, almost 934 at 495. 933 right here, 495. So I bought right here, and I just hated the price action. I sold the next minute at 49. So right here, sold right here, and I bought right here. I just hated the price action. It had one more candle, right? Although this one I also got out because I hated the price action, and it also broke the day low. And learning from my issue with NWGC, if it has more room to drop, don't want to be a part of it. Sure, it held eventually. We did in theory get the big volume candle here. It was smaller here. Maybe could have considered a buy in that sense right there. But even if I did, I mean, 48 to 50. I mean, it's not bad. It's 5%. If you want to be perfect here, 10%, give or take. But yeah, it wasn't good. But it was nice because this stock is known to do these uptrends randomly later in the day. Friday I got really close to getting in long, but just didn't figure out my risk reward in time. I learned from that too. This one was holding VWAP, and in that sense, it got from 49, and then it got to like 61 on low volume. You can tell right here, somebody had a lot of shares to sell, and it kind of really changed the price from 58 to 54. I guess not that much, but almost 10%. Still, something I want to consider. So stocks like these random pumps, they just randomly uptrend, after the morning panic. This one kind of just bounced around, but still super impressive. Not a good trade, but I like how it runs up later in the day. Next one was looks like the 10th for AMC. This was a morning panic bounce play. So let's look at the 10th for AMC. Right here is a 10. Looks like a significant red day. These previous 2 days were red, but this was like the first red day that was like really nice, and that it's a lot bigger than these two other ones. Let's look at the 10th. Looks like the 10th was right here. Let's just do it from this level. Morning panic bounce play, right? Is this it, the 10th? Alright, the 10th, and my buy was at 936, and my price was 49.10. Was this really it? I feel like I got the wrong day. I'm gonna take a look. I think I got the wrong day. I'll be back. Okay, I was able to resolve the issue. Yeah, it was a 9th. It wasn't a 10th. I guess this was just another red day. It wasn't as big as the next day, which had a lot more price action, but this was a red day. It was on the 9th, not the 10th, and that makes a lot more sense. I guess next week maybe I'll try to do the whole thing in one take. Unfortunately, I had to cut it here, but that's fine. Anyway, it is a 9th AMC, and my buy was 936. 49.10. So let's look at 936, 49.10. Right here, give or take, right here. Just a bunch of red candles. We had this max panic wick going on right here. Wasn't really max volume, but we had two big volume candles here. Even though the max volume candle wasn't really perfect, in that sense, we did have like that max panic wick right here. Just overall, you can see, just instead of nice dropping every single candle, we have some holding here at this 48.90 level. Got my buy at 49.10, and I sold 937 for 50.01. So 937, 50.01. So the top of this wick right here is when I took a sell. Now, why did I take a sell there if it didn't get past VWAP? Number one, it's a NASDAQ. I don't know how NASDAQs really do with morning panic bounce plays. Are they like OTCs where they normally do touch VWAP and uptrend from there, or maybe sometimes they break past VWAP, downtrend under, and then break further? Sometimes they get to VWAP and reject. I learned that one the hard way with another big volume, dollar volume trade I made, I think last week. Not last week as in the one I'm going over, but the one before it. But still, there was just some nice topping action right here at 50. I wasn't sure if 50 was going to break or not, because that is a very perfect, very round number, $50. So that's why I took a sell there. Didn't hold on the trade for too long. It did get to like 50.48, or I guess $50.50 if you want to be perfect. But this was a pretty good trade, a nice attempt, and then it dropped, kind of made a double bottom. I forgot why I didn't get in here, or maybe I was just too scared. But it had another run up. It wasn't as nice from 48 to this 50 level again. It just didn't seem that nice, at least compared to the initial one. And then here it kind of put up a higher low right here, and that's when it did a very nice uptrend from this 49 level, as high as this 51, like give or take, pretty easy to get in and out of. But anyway, that was a pretty good trade, just a nice attempt trying NASDAQs for morning panic bounce plays. I guess in theory the option would have been better, but maybe that would have been kind of hard. I don't know, they're not perfect. Maybe it could have gotten like a like out of the money option for 50, and then once it gets to around 50 and it looks super nice, Could have sold the option. I don't know how the volatility really is. It's still something I might consider to trade options, but you know, this was still a pretty nice trade. You know, it wasn't that bad percent wise. It could have went any way really, but when it was looking so clean, this panic compared to an OTCs, how bad they have been, you know, during that time period, I took it and it wasn't bad. I traded small. You know, had I traded maybe an average $500 position, which would have been 10 shares, I guess, give or take, still wouldn't have made anything, but I still like the trade. It was very nice. And let's look at the 10th for MJWL. This was a morning panic bounce play that didn't work out. I mean, it did, but the price action was trash. Right here, the 10th. Let's look at the 10th here, which was right back here. You see, this one did another uptrend later in the day, but you know, again, still just trying to go for the initial morning panic bounce play. That's not doing it. Anyway, let's see how it went here. I think this one was trading worse, and my buy was at 936.73. So 936 was right here, and I bought at 73. This is kind of like where I got in, and I wanted to risk the day low, but this day low was just way too far from me, you know. But I went ahead and took a buy. That was pretty risky. Maybe I would have considered it maybe even here, right, and try to risk off of this level right here, not necessarily the wick, but hey, that's a pretty ballsy trade. You know, I think I just wanted to risk off of the day low, but I just started trading like trash, and you know, then I thought, well, I don't really want to risk something that low. So let's see, I got in at, what was it, 72, I believe, 73. Again, 73 right here. Pretty nice entry when you look at it. And then I sold at 72.5, very small percent wise. And it looks like I did it the same. Yeah, it was the same. The same candle. Was just not liking that price action. And I guess, yeah, from the shape of the candle, just looks like it has a lot more room to go. You know, my sell looks like at the bottom with that wick right there. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, just literally sold at the bottom of that candle. It did have a tiny drop from there, and that in theory would have, you know, really messed with me, I guess, because it would have been under this candle. But again, this was more of like a risk reward issue where I just didn't like the fact that I don't want to risk that much from the day low, even though it worked out in this case, right? It would have worked out eventually. I just didn't want to be a part of it. You know, I've not anymore, but when I first started it, a lot of times when I risk a certain price level, it just always breaks it. So I just didn't want to be a part of that. And this was the same stock that was trading crappy the other time. So yeah, it kind of is into the setup work, sure. I mean, what, you could have gone in at 74 in the sell right here when it started consolidating a bunch in the 83 level, and that would have been nice percent wise. And it did, of course, do that nice uptrend randomly later in the day, right? I guess it took a long time. Yeah, it took a really long time. I wouldn't have held through that drop, but it did do one of those. And then the last trade here, GME, just one share. Let's look at GME for the 11th. First major red day, nice run up, 151, 300, nice red day. Again, let's look at the, oh wait, that's the 10th, rip. The 11th is right here. Okay, could it be a potential rebound day? And this is, yeah, this is when I traded inverse head and shoulders for the 11th, and it looks like I got in at 127. So let's look at 127 for the 11th. I guess we'll just highlight the entire day, which this entire thing looks like an inverse head and shoulders. Just out of curiosity to remember, what did it do afterwards? Was that the last day for real? I thought I didn't trade on the last day. No way. Yeah, no, that was the last day of the week. I might have the date wrong here too. I'll have to check, but let's look and see if it makes sense. 1:27 p.m. 240. Yeah, this was totally not the right day. Okay, it was this big red day. I'm not gonna cut that. That's fine. It was totally on the 10th. I'm probably not. I don't know. Sometimes when you put like, when you drag it, you know, it just puts the next. Yeah, that's probably what threw me off. Anyway, now it makes much more sense. It was really this big red day. I didn't have it wrong. It totally wasn't the 11th. It was the 10th. And this was just horrible massacre. This would have been nice for like a put option, I guess. And yeah, this makes a lot more sense. Okay, yeah, I think my entry was right here. Just to remember, yeah, 127, and I got out the next minute. So right here, took a buy. I guess we'll just zoom in a little more. Right here. Why did I trade this? This looks like an inverse head and shoulders. It wasn't really that perfect. In theory, shoulder, head, and then we had shoulder, right? I guess I thought this was going to be the shoulder, but this one ended up being the shoulder, and it didn't get that high. Didn't get that high at all. I thought it was going to be potentially nice because it did make like this level higher than the neckline here, but it wasn't by too much. It just didn't work out. Let's just go over it again. 127. It's 127, 128. Just a buy and sell here. And it probably wasn't the best idea, but I was just really risking it off of 240, and that's like a really round number, you know, where it's had wicks before below it. So probably not the best in that sense, but you know, that's what I traded here potentially. It did save me from, you know, if I just wanted to be an idiot and bag hold this, you know, if it downtrends and then it's up a little and it just wipes out the head, I would have had to have sold here, absolutely. You know, even if I bag held it for some dumb reason. I don't do that, but you can see the volume even picked up once it cracked the low right here. That's pretty impressive. It just didn't work out, and I don't mind it. It was a good attempt. You know, maybe in the future I wouldn't have considered it, but I think in that sense it was a good trade. So that's all I got for this week. You know, a lot of improvements, a lot better, staying away from trading crappy morning panic bounce plays. I did not trade one that happened. I think it was on Friday with MJWL. Didn't regret it, although I tried to get in for that uptrend. It does later randomly in the day. I just need to keep going at it. I like how I traded a large position here and I cut losses very nicely. In regard to not cutting the first one, that's a good lesson that I learned from that. But still, percent wise, it was tiny. It could have been smaller in that sense, or I could have maybe have had two trades where I got out of the stutter step and then I went in at the second move. That might have helped me a lot and helped me be much more profitable this week, but I don't regret it too much. I just need to keep working on it, trading potentially if the setup is nice, larger position sizes, keep focusing on trading better setups, not being too scared of trading listed stocks anymore after a decent week here, just trading it, even a short sell. So a lot of improvement. I need to catch up, rewatch some of the videos I made previously with my trading, and you know, just get ready for tomorrow.